following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Oh, hi, I'm Christine.
And I'm Janice.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit.
Hell yeah.
So, I almost forgot we were doing a show. I was like looking at all my shit on my desk going, I got to do this later. I don't know. You never know with me. Yeah.
It's true. But it's always something positive.
Always. So today, folks, thanks for joining us. We always love it when you come and hang out. We are talking about pleasure.
Yay.
And our guest is going to say that it is our birthright. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see what she says about that. So pleasure. I think that I'm going to give my thoughts on it, and then we'll talk about it a tad bit before we bring on Melissa. My thoughts on pleasure. I really haven't formulated it because I had to take a nap today.
Oh my.
Because I was so
was it pleasurable, Christine?
It was until I had to wake up, and then I was like, this fucking sucks. But I think that okay, this is the thoughts before I went to sleep. Okay.
Okay.
Women are maybe afraid to show that they are having pleasure or afraid to ask for pleasure. I find that men are constantly asking, did I make you come, or did you enjoy that? Was that pleasurable for you? And I think a lot of women are like, inside their head, no.
Where are you getting this?
And because my experience, but then I say, yeah. Of course, because I want it to be over and I want you to go home.
Oh my God. No. Melissa and we got to reform you, Christine.
Not that I don't get it. I think that I find that I've had a lot of experience in my past with being with men who are takers and not givers. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, I happen to be dating somebody who's a giver, which is fabulous. Yeah. But the problem with that is that the only pleasure I get these days is because I'm long distance dating, is that I'm going to be able to crawl into clean sheets tonight with my toy.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, climbing into clean sheets with a toy you love sounds amazing. Why are you downplaying that?
Because for me, it's not very fulfilling.
Okay. Well, I mean, why is that? I mean, maybe is this something that maybe you want to think about reclaiming for yourself a little bit more?
I think that Maybe it could be that. It also could be that a lot of men that I seem to connect with outside of the bedroom, maybe I don't connect with in the bedroom, so to speak, because they're about their pleasure and not about whether I'm experiencing any. Thank goodness, I am seeing somebody who does care about my pleasure, which is awesome.
But you care about it. And so I think, having a sexy experience like that all your own, that would probably be something that I'd really look forward to. So I'm just saying, maybe don't kind of, shit on it before it happens, because I think that sounds like a great way to spend a night.
For me, I find pleasure more in the intimacy, in the kissing, in the connection, in the touch, in that kind of fulfillment rather than like what, say, a toy would give you, just an actual orgasm and then it's over. For me, that feels very almost clinical. I get that release so I can maybe sleep or relax or whatever, but there's no real pleasure or joy in that for me. Yeah.
Okay, well, I would say maybe you could make it a mission to make it more pleasurable and joyful.
Well,
especially as I know you are long distance, and you deserve to have that. And I think we're all responsible for our own pleasure, and maybe taking that back into your own hands. Oh, 1,000% you are.
Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can't wait to see what Melissa has to say about it.
Now, what about you? What's your take on, pleasure being your birthright, or pleasure for women, or whatever?
Yeah, I definitely think that we are here to be happy. And, as men and women, I do think that pleasure is our birthright. And I think that's one, amazing thing about being human. And I think being able to access things that make us joyful and make us feel fulfilled, mentally and physically, is a great part about being human. And I think tapping into our sexuality, which is so unique, as a female, we're given actual anatomy that is only for pleasure. And I think, we shouldn't forsake it. And I think I really connect to, my own divine feminine source when I tap into it.
Okay.
And it's really expansive for me inside a relationship, and maybe more so outside of one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe
you. Honestly, it's been transformative for me to, learn how to give that to myself.
Well, I mean,
oh, we can't. You are muted, girl.
I have a faulty cord with my mic these days, and any kind of touch takes it into mute. So if I go mute, I'll just hit the mute button again.
Ooh, what you just said, I'm already thinking of all the double entendres there. Any type of touch puts it on mute. See, and maybe this is something you can give to yourself. How can you derive more pleasure from every touch, that you give yourself, or every moment in each day, or, in every minute underneath the clean sheets? How can you maximize that for yourself?
Well, there you go. It's food for thought. That's for sure. So, well, today we have Melissa Louise. She is a leading pleasure advocate, erotic blueprint coach, and sex, intimacy, and relationship expert. She supports women to reclaim their divine birthright to feel alive or orgasmic and turn the fuck on, no matter what their age or relationship status. And men to be more attractive, powerful, trustworthy, and make more money, and find freedom by lasting longer in bed. Melissa, I'm referring you to everybody I know.
This sounds perfect. I can't wait to speak with Melissa.
The perfect erotic turn-on cocktail that nourishes your health, wealth, and well-being, with certifications in Kink 101, accelerated evolution, and access consciousness. Melissa truly embodies how we do life. How we do life is how we do sex. Ooh, I like that. This is the true revelation of our time, lovers. I love it. Let's bring on Melissa. Let's have a little chat with her today.
All right.
Hi, Melissa. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Hi, Janice. Hi, Christine. It's so wonderful to be here.
Oh, my God. I think that your accent just might give people pleasure as it is. Hello, Melissa.
Yeah, just let me do the ABC, and we could just go backwards and forwards.
Hey, like I was saying, how can you get pleasure out of every moment? And if you can get pleasure out of either listening or saying the alphabet, I think that would be a great practice. Maybe that's Christine's homework. Pleasure out of the alphabet.
I'm going to go A, B, C, D, E, F, J.
We're rocking it.
Yeah,
We could do a whole
yeah.
choir of the alphabet.
I love it. So tell us, Melissa, how did you get into this kind of coaching for people?
My goodness, this question seems so far back now. I mean, I know for me, I was born under the sun of Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty pissed off, really, because like I was born into the human world when people are not having enough sex and everything's about sex except for sex. And people just, like I'm about to be 50. So I'm talking about, in their 70s and 80s in a small town, Australia. It was so conservative. So I just grew up being really annoyed. There's more to life than working to pay tax. Like we did not come on the planet just to get a career. Like actually we came on the planet.
I agree.
To have great sex. And
I do agree.
Yeah. And I've traveled the world a lot. I've been traveling since I was 17 and I've raised my son. Also traveling through Central and South America and Indonesia for the last 11, 12 years. And everywhere I go, it's the same story. People are not connecting. People are wanting more sex. People are not talking about it, wanting it. And so I just got to the point in my life when I was about 41 going, if I'm going to keep staying here and I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something I really fucking love and that I
talk
know
about sex.
And it's just because I was talking about sex all the time anyway. Yeah. Every day party. I used to organize events and my events were so sexy and luxurious and lush and sensual. And everyone's like, so what do you do? And like, you've got to do more than just organize music events. And so, yeah. So
I love that. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about this, this way of teaching people to really explore who they are sexually and how to really tap into that pleasure, or really about what the whole name of the show is, pleasure being your birthright. Tell us about that.
Thank you. I love what Jana said before about pleasure is your own responsibility. I mean, that's one of my taglines. I'm saying it to everyone. You're even in a relationship, inside of the bedroom, any kink container that you're in, it is your responsibility. The way that pleasure works in our body is for our health. So when we are walking through our days or going through our life completely separate from pleasure, we're actually separate from self. We're truly, and especially, I shouldn't say especially for the feminine, it works different in the masculine body and the feminine body. But the female body is wired for pleasure. Our hormones are reset, like they reset through pleasure. We have organs that are designed to reset them, to flush cortisol out of our body, and we live in a world that is run by cortisol. We have women that are in the high masculine energy all the time. We're getting sicker. We're not getting healthier. We're getting sicker each decade. Women are not even in arenas anymore where we're understanding our bodies. We're raised by the patriarch. It's like all of our menstruation health, our menstruation knowledge doesn't come from women. It's coming from a system that needs to control it to make money, to keep us working. It's like this rat thing that we need. And we're actually we're run by the moon. Women are run by the moon system. Men are run by the sun system, but the whole world is run by the sun calendar. So understanding how pleasure, this is even before we get to sex with someone else, understanding how, and I'll get to the men in a moment, that's also just as exciting, using pleasure for our health, to reset our hormones, for creativity, it's also this mechanism to release pain. Like I've had clients that have had menstruation issues, like pain, every menstruation cycle for up to 16, 17 years, one session with me where I'm like, rub one out, honey, every half hour. You're a friend, like just rub one. And she's like, she's taking CBD or she's doing all of this stuff, like on painkillers her whole life, with just one menstruation cycle, by having clitoral orgasms every half hour. And if we think about where everything's situated and how pain is contraction, the womb and in pain is a contraction, and the orgasm releases. So we're our own multi-billion-dollar factory. That's why it's this revolution. If women were to take the autonomy back around their pleasure, and this starts with education, what you were talking before, Christine, about men going for their pleasure or going for orgasm. When we take orgasm off the table, when we reclaim our autonomy of pleasure in our body, we don't need the pharmacies as much. I'm always saying butter over Botox, orgasms and butter over Botox. I mean, I've had 3 orgasms today already. One of them's an anger orgasm. Like I had an argument with my 16-year-old teenage son, slam the door, rub one out, back in minutes. Okay, do you want breakfast? Da da da.
Yeah, it's true. Have you been involved with orgasmic meditation?
Do you know, when I first got into this work 9 years ago, I studied with Christian Sweeting Morelli, and the woman that ran One Taste was in that container. Mm-hmm. So I was in that container. So I definitely.
Yeah. I used to before the pandemic, and we would always say, open up your day with orgasm. It's, just as effective perhaps as having coffee. And definitely, gives you the rosy cheeks that you want to start your day.
Exactly, in the creation and just also the stress. So what happens in the woman's body is when we've used our testosterone, which is only 13 to 15% of what the man's body produces, we start using cortisol. So for most women, that's 9:30 in the morning. We're on cortisol, especially if we've got kids, especially if we're waking up and we're on our phones. Around 9:30, 10 a.m., our body's producing cortisol. If we stay doing that all day, all week, all month, 5 years, then we try to get pregnant and then we can't get pregnant. And then all of that. So do you know what I mean? It's like this cycle that just what comes first? The chick is like da 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 da. And then we look at decades. And then we're looking at, when we leave our whole menstruation cycle, I mean, I call it I can't say that men are like, we're putting men on pause. I'm still baffled at that word. It's like, we're putting you men on pause because we're going through drama. It's like the purple tent, it's this beautiful, exquisite walking through that when we've had a pleasure-filled life, this is not a drama. So I get a little bit like, big brother about it. I think it's a fabulous way to control women by keeping us separate from our pleasure. I think it's a very calculated system to shame us for our pleasure because they make so much fucking money out of us by not being connected to our pleasure.
So what would you say? I know that you heard the conversation that Christine and I were having before you came in. And this is something also that I hear from lots of women. I'm a breakup and dating coach. And I hear lots of women saying that they really want to start dating again and want a partner because it's just not the same. They are able to masturbate and they enjoy it and they'll do it if they have to, but it's just not as fulfilling. And not that there's a right or wrong way to do it necessarily, but what would your answer to that be?
So first of all, it's broadening our concept of what sex is. I mean, first of all, I get it. I really get it. And we're also living in a world where, there's a lot, people are very single and we're very isolated. We live in a culture and society that places us into this isolation. So if we look at, our generation at the moment is we've never been so effing single and isolated than before.
Yeah.
So we're all in it together. It's like, holy shit.
I agree with that.
Statistically, it's true.
Yeah.
And often too, when we're so used to going to someone else for sex and our view on sex. So there's a really beautiful definition of sex, which is sex is how we satiate our desires. I mean, if you've ever seen me massage someone in a kilo of chocolate, it's fucking sex.
Oh my. What?
I used to do that as a job in Peru. I used to massage wedding parties in kilos of hot liquid chocolate and hot coconut oil. It was so much fun.
I love that.
I'm in touch, girl. You've got me enraptured.
Well, for me, I always say when men ask me what turns you on, for me, that's, what gives you pleasure. It's the same thing, same question. They're just asking it differently. I say my aphrodisiac is massage. You touch me, you massage me, whether it be my feet, my hands, my neck, just touch me and massage me. I'm good as done. I'm good as gold. I'm a sure thing. And I will most likely have an orgasm quicker if you are spending the time giving me a massage first, which turns me on. I come a lot faster after that than I do just going for the gold and just going right to sex. It does, that for me, men I think are stimulated mentally with, like intelligence and visually with like your body. I'm stimulated by touch.
So this really comes to the erotic blueprints plus the fact that you're in a female body. So the man's map of arousal is opposite to the women's. And it takes up to, science is trying to shove it down because we don't have time, but the Taoists and the Tantrics have been talking about for 3,000 to 5,000 years. It takes a woman's body up to 45 minutes to be ready for penetration. And the clitoral orgasm is the orgasm to have before penetration because it brings all of the blood and fluid.
Oh God, that's my favorite thing.
Yes, I tell men all the time, you want to make this work, you want this to be the best sex, have to make me have an orgasm first. I'll give you pleasure, you give me pleasure, and the sex will be out of control because I will boom, 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 continue to have orgasms. And I think men really derive pleasure from women having orgasms or watching a woman or feeling a woman, things like that.
Yeah, most definitely. And this also comes down to, this is great, like you have great boundaries. It comes down to women having their boundaries and making it non-negotiable. I was with a client today and basically come down and said, well, you get up and you walk away. Like if you have someone that has you in bed and will not hear you and won't follow through those boundaries, and this is just to be really straightforward, it's like your body's not there to be used to be masturbated inside of. And that's generally what happens many people are taking part of. Now, this is not a pointing the finger at men that they're not taught either. And they have this pressure to fix the situation, like we're a problem to be solved. If they don't know, if they haven't taken the time to learn and they're not reading up on, which a lot of men, we know that within culturally wise and societal wise, they don't do that up until now, haven't done a lot of research. They're not the ones that go to coaches and doctors and all of that stuff first. It's generally the feminine that does that first.
Yes.
So it is up to us to share and invite. It is up to us to understand our own body, making it more negotiable. When you're, as you're saying, Christine, it's like, once you've had your first orgasm, now what happens is your body's ready for the rest. And what's happening, people are kind of like going, oh, well, okay, you finish first and now take your cock out and then I'll just rub myself on my clit. And it's like, well, the cock's not even meant to be inside, mentally. If that's and this is why when women come to me saying, there's something wrong with me, I can't have orgasms through penetration. And it's always I said, we need to find your no. We find we find the boundary, and then your body surrenders, because our body surrenders into orgasm, whereas one type of orgasm, which is ejaculatory orgasm, is this peak orgasm that the man's racing towards. Yeah, so it's a complete opposite. The erotic, sorry, darling, yeah.
No, we disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
So with the erotic blueprints, when we're getting back to this thing of, being single and needing a partner, when we expand our definition of what sex is, when we're actually going for pleasure instead of orgasm, and we're leading a pleasure-filled life where we're satiated through pleasure, it's redefining our happiness, it's redefining our satisfaction. Often they're, looking at the quintessential, like you find your first great orgasm and pleasure through having sex with another, and that's how you know how you get it. If you haven't spent a life filling your life with pleasure in other arenas, and you've been doing the working and the family and this, and now we're divorced, and it's like this sort of formula.
Yeah.
So then we pattern interrupt the formula. It's like, yes, fucking hell, having sex with someone, are you fucking serious? It's like how we meet God, and it's like, it's how we find God. And there's many, roads to Rome, because that's where God sits.
Beautiful.
So there's, all of these roads to Rome. And when we expand what our definition of being satisfied is, and coming into the blueprints, and Christine, oh my God, straight away, I'm pretty sure you'd be essential, just the way you're talking. And there's 5, just as there's 5 love languages, there's 5 erotic blueprints, and whichever one that there's a quiz, whichever one you come up as, it doesn't mean that's it for life. You then get to explore. We get to play Mozart on the piano instead of just chopsticks, like, ding, 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 this is what I do. And we learn to play Mozart. So if we're going to go into kink containers, doing shibari rope tying, I mean, my goodness, you go into subspace, you go into meditation through that, going deep into sensual and, really taking yourself on it, like dating yourself.
Yeah.
I was hearing you before talking about, jumping into clean sheets with your toy. It's like dating yourself with the bath, the oils, the chocolate. Yeah. I mean, I'm if I've got, hot liquid chocolate, I will be in, like, if I was with a partner, I'd want to do that. I would be having food fights. So I do it with myself, and like,
right.
All of this stuff, we date ourselves and bring that in just for the sake of it. It's also shifting it that, oh, I'm missing out because it's not with someone else. I'm so fucking awesome. I'm hilarious. I'm funny as shit. I'm a bit like, I want to hang out with me because I'm really cool. Yeah. And if I'm going to take myself out for dinner, it's like, this place out here, or I'll sit naked. Like we sit on those edges and do those things. And that's how we create more in our life. If we're going to sit at home going, oh my God, I've got to find that person to have pleasure. Then we're always going to be in there. I'm waiting to find that person, as opposed to I'm over here having a fucking great time. Oh, look who just showed up.
You're speaking my language. This is incredible.
Yeah. I do agree with that. I think that, this whole journey when I started 50 Shades was about helping people find themselves. And it's not just finding yourself to love yourself mentally or emotionally. I think it's also physically, not only accepting your body for who it is, but also in pleasure. I do agree with you. And I joke, especially at the top of the show, saying, oh, it's just not as fun. Trust me, I do a lot of it all on my own. I do. I know how to touch myself. I know where to touch myself, and I do it quite frequently.
Then why were you downplaying it? Like, what is it about it that makes you want to, rather than saying, I cannot wait for my clean sheets? Why were you like, I just got my clean sheets?
Because 90% of my pleasure is not the orgasm. It's the touch. I am a touch person. I can touch myself all fucking day long. It doesn't feel the same as when a man touches me. Or like when you braided your friend's hair, when they braided my hair, it's like, it's like, I love to be touched. I mean, even if I'm with my girlfriends, and not for a sexual reason, but when we hug and when we hang out, that brings me a lot of pleasure and joy. Not so much sexually, but you know what I mean. And I'm a feeler. I'm a toucher. I love to touch. When I go shopping, I have to touch everything. All the clothes, I have to feel the fabric. I have to experience the fabric. I hold it against me.
Why not get some scarves or some furry boas and
well, if you saw my bed, my blanket is fluffy. It's very, very furry. I roll around on that bad boy. Sometimes I get high on my own and I roll around and I go, oh my God, it feels so fucking good. I do, but I am somebody who happens to enjoy feeling the pleasure of somebody else. That just is it brings it to a whole nother level, which, I get that, but I still experience this. So I had this thing I used to do. I don't do it now because I have a boyfriend who lives out of town and I can't be just walking willy-nilly around doing this now. But before a date, I would give myself orgasms before a date. And the date would go fucking great. Not only on my behalf, but they would be all like, oh my God. And then I'd let's see if this works and how it is on a date without it. So then I wouldn't. And then I'd go out and the date would be like a dud. So I used to do these things all the time.
Can I share a
enjoyed
little
doing it.
secret of mine that I did
Yeah.
last month?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all about sharing secrets here.
I know, just between the three of us.
Right?
Magic. So I went down to do some work. It was a Friday night and I had some writing to do. I said, oh my God, I'm going to go down to my favorite restaurant on the beach and get some wine and calamari and do my writing. And in walks this man, 6.5 foot tall, chocolate as anything, fit as anything, covered in tats. And I'm just like, and I just said out loud, I said, who the fuck are you? I'm very quiet and,
Yeah, right.
And I was like, who the fuck are you? And he's just like, blah, blah, blah. And I had to leave. So I go to the bathroom, I got my business card, I put my pussy juice on it and then walked straight up to his table. And he's on the other side of the table talking to someone because everyone one by one turned at me. And I went, if this goes much longer, I will fall apart and just go into the floor. He's got to look soon. And I just leaned across and gave him my business card.
Amazing.
And I also put a bit of pussy juice on my wrist. And I just leaned across and I said, look, if you're single and you live here, you should call me. And then I went to run away because my bravado only lasts as long. And as I'm walking out down the stairs, he goes, oh, I live here and I will call you. And I went, oh, I know you will. And it's like,
amazing. Go you.
And a girlfriend told me about it. And there's every time it's like, because it's the pheromones. It's like you, Christine, talking about, you have this orgasm and what happens is your yin energy, the feminine energy, which the man, the yang in the man's body is like they need that polarity. And so when we don't have it, it's like a desert. It's like, there's no polarity. Everything's in the middle. There's nothing to play with. So yeah, that's my little secret.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was on Clubhouse. If anyone knows about Clubhouse, I was on that a few months ago, and there was a group talking about women's pleasure. So I went in and I was, listening up, and a bunch of women were talking about doing just that. They were saying how they do that. And some men were appalled. And I was like, please.
What's up? What did they find appalling about it?
That we would try to be manipulative. That gross. How can you be so gross?
Well, those aren't the men for us, I suppose.
I
can say though,
agree.
I do that too, and it doesn't have to be limited to when you're hoping to, attract some type of sexual encounter or attract a man. It goes really well just going out in public on your own, having a business meeting, having any encounter where you want to be confident and exude that.
It's interesting that the belief of manipulative is like, this is pheromones, and if their pheromones are not going to be attracted, they're not going to be attracted. Like you haven't put them under a spell or hypnotized them. It's like, there's more of me available, and if you're ready, let's fucking go, and that's it. And if it's not, it's like, and that's actually it's a great leveler, because if their pheromones are not going to work with yours, boom, they know straight away. Boom, they're on the other side of the
boat. But a strong, confident man will want a woman who's owning that type of feminine power, I think.
Yes. Yes, I love that feminine power. I think it's hot. I think it's awesome. I think every woman should be exuding it. I think we've been oppressed for so long, felt ashamed for saying anything about our bodies, whether it be menstruating or orgasm or Janice happens to know that word is weird for me.
Yeah, she doesn't like to say pussy, Melissa.
No, I only do it during
What word
sex.
do you use, honey?
I use it during sex. I use the P word during sex all the time. No problem. Out and about on a daily thing, I say vagina. I say my hoo-ha.
Does that feel sexy to you, though? If it does, that's fine. I'm just curious.
Vagina.
Okay.
There we go. My chiropractor, Thursday. Yes, yesterday. He's this glorious gay man that calls me honey, sweetie, mummy, as he's drilling me with all of his machines that have men's names getting into my butt. Kyle's going for you. This thing. Oh my and he's laughing his head off. And he goes, I think you should just be called Virginia. with that, you know, the thing on that. And so then when people say, how do you spell that? VAGINA. And then you just be called vagina everywhere, but you introduce yourself as Virginia.
When I was in high school, once in a while, people would call me Ginus as
instead of Janice.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, kids are disgusting.
I mean, they're just nasty, mean little beings.
They're little assholes. Most kids are assholes. They came from asshole parents. What can you say? If you find a bully, you know their parents are bullies or were bullies, and they listen to their parents at home. So they go to school and be a bully. Yeah, I was bullied, so I know all about that shit. So yeah, I love this conversation. I think that more women should be having these conversations and not be ashamed to feel pleasure, not be ashamed to say they feel pleasure. I think when I used to in the past, when a man would say, what do you like? Or what do you want? Or how do I turn you on? I'd say, oh yeah, just do whatever. And yeah, whatever. Now I'm like, oh really? You want to know? Well, if you start out massaging me for 35, 40 minutes, give me a full body massage, I'll probably come in 2 fucking seconds. And then if you go down on me, I'll come in another 2 seconds. And then I'll blow you like you've never been blown. And then the sex will be fucking phenomenal because I'll have 15 orgasms. And they're like, and they're like, oh, okay, well, what position do you like? I like all of them. And then you touch me while we do this and you do that. I have no problem saying that now.
Awesome.
Most men are intimidated by that because I'm a little too much. But I'm like, you asked, I'm going to give it to you. You just never met somebody like me before.
But you sound like you are taking responsibility for your pleasure, whereas earlier you seemed a little resistant to that idea.
I just don't always talk about it. It takes me a while to warm up.
I actually wanted to speak a little bit further to that around, you know, with women and with the question that you asked a little while ago, Janice, too, with women finding what they like. And this is where the erotic blueprints come in. And like the more you speak, Kristen, yes, essential, here we go. But
it's true.
When you understand what your erotic blueprint is, it gives you a language that is your pleasure map. How does your nervous system try-take to turn on? Because everyone's is different. And so an energetic needs certain, you know, certain aspects before the space. They also might need, you know, information that someone's about to walk in the door. They might need eye gazing first to get their nervous system, you know, settled. The sensual is all around so the energetic's all around space. It's around spaciousness and space and energy. So the superpower of the energetic, they can have orgasms in another freaking country, you know, than their lover. They just, you know, they can be this eye gazing on screen. They can do conscious breathing through the phone. They can just send text messages, whatever. And you can be across the other side of the room, you know, from your lover and doing eye gazing or doing breathing. And there's this intention and they can just be in full body orgasm. The thing is that, you know, then they can get shut down if like touch happens too quickly. That's one of the shadows of that. The sensual is the 5 senses, you know, it's like everything can technicolor. It's the, you know, the taste, the smell, the sound, the touch, you know, the feeling of everything. And the visual, like everything to be visual. But then that means as a shadow for the sensual is that when the music goes to a song that they can't stand, or if the bed's not made, or there's dishes in the sink, or there's a funny smell, this is about the nervous system. The nervous system will shut down. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I've just got to get out of bed and, you know, change the music. And if that, you know, if the sensual's having sex with someone who's a sexual or a kink and they don't even hear it, they're like, where the fuck are you going? Like, what? Right. You're killing the mood. And the sensual's like, oh my God, I can't do anything with that, you know. And a sexual is our societal's acceptance of sex, which is like 0 to 100, you know, boom, turned on, sex toys, porn, okay, we're ready. Awesome. We've got 10 minutes. Let's have sex. And before anyone asks, it's like, this is not the, mainly men are sexual. I have worked with many clients where the men are energetic and the women are sexual, and the women are pissed because they want to grab the guy's cock and say, come on, the kids are, just da-da-da-da. And the guy's like that was too fast, like, oh my God, no. And all of this stuff. So when we understand our blueprint, we also understand how we try to take to pleasure. And then there's kinky, which is everything. What is kink?
Right. Yeah. What is
kink?
kink?
Is anything that's not normal to you, which just makes the whole planet available to you, and anything that you want. And then there's the shapeshifter, which moves through it all. And often the shapeshifter feels like they're too much, and they will cater to their lover's needs all the time because they can. It's easy. Oh, you're energetic? Awesome. Oh, you're sensual? Awesome. Oh, you want to tie me up? Awesome. Oh, you want a quick fuck? Awesome. Which means they're just, okay, what do you want?
How have you seen the erotic blueprints or the knowledge of the erotic blueprint, maybe help women as far as transforming their lives, helping them come out of depression, helping them live, a more desire-led existence with or without a partner?
Because it gives them, I see it so many where they have permission or the understanding, especially, it's the women that I've worked with that have come out of, they've come through divorce, or they've come out of a really big breakup and they feel like they're broken. Like, how are they going to understand life is being done a certain way? They're not quite sure. Like, I don't understand. And then they do the blueprint, quiz, and we dive deeper into it. And it's like, holy fuck. I've just, especially being shut down, if we're looking at energetics, being shamed for their desires, the amount of people, as all of you, both of you would know, the amount of people in relationships that won't talk about their desire. Oh, I can't say that. They'll judge me. And people will be in 20 to 30-year relationships. I think it's profound that people will sign a contract to a system dictating this is what your relationship status is. And then they'll sign contracts at banks going, okay, I'll be in debt with you for 20 years, but I'm not going to tell you my sexual desires. Like, I think that's phenomenal. Like, you're withholding, because as a culture, we're raised that is shameful, that is something really silly, but we're willing to sign our lives away, but we won't talk. And that comes down to the nervous system. It comes down to feeling shame and guilt around our sexual desires, because that's how it's placed.
Yeah.
And so understanding the blueprints, it brings couples back together. It for women in the dating game, also, with my male clients, it's being on dates and sort of getting a gauge of what this person is like. It's like through often too, like we're judging. Like, I used to judge guys that would go straight for the hammer straight away. It used to like freak me out, like, holy fuck. Yeah. But now it's like understanding the blueprint. I get to play with it, like and I decide whether I'm going to meet up or not. But it's like, oh, he's a sexual. So then I speak to that. And then bringing around here, because if we shame someone for what they're turned on about, we've lost them. But if you acknowledge it and go,
yeah.
And are you willing? This is what I need. Oh, I will get there, honey. Don't you fucking worry. I'll be on my knees honoring your cock like nothing else. And this is what I need first. Is that possible? As opposed to, holy fuck, that's it. All you want is sex. All you want is penetration. A lot of men also believe that's what they need to do. It's a bit of a minefield, but having this sort of knowledge on board helps in the dating scene is amazing. It's even in the workplace for workers. It's understanding when you're having meetings, how people operate. Like it's awesome.
I really don't think that if people who are dating and want in a relationship, or someone who is married in a relationship type status, that if they're not communicating, what is pleasuring them, what they need, asking what their partner wants or needs. If they're not communicating these things, the breakdown of that relationship can really happen fast. You can be the best of friends. You can have everything in common. Every part of your life is perfect, but in the bedroom, you're not getting satisfied. I think it comes from not communicating. And also it could be very well women not knowing what they want, what they need, and how to talk about it. Because like you said, a man could just be going right for it because he thinks that's what it's all about. But if she just says, hey, let's slow down a little, I need a little bit of this. I'd like to do a little bit of that. I think sometimes we have to lead in that way, thinking that the man is going to lead in that way, and he's not, because he doesn't understand what's in your head.
I think it's hard though for people who just get into a rut together and they don't know how to, they are uncomfortable speaking about such sensitive topics, which I think is a problem that a lot of couples have, is I don't know how to put this into words, and this is something I've never experienced with this person before. So I'm, you know, I'm feeling too uneasy, and it's too unpredictable how they're going to react. And so you just never do it.
Yeah.
And we're bringing into the present relationship everything that is behind us. And these are our assumptions. These are our perceptions. So then we're looking for that. Oh, when I said that, he or she was a little bit silent, or she turned, oh yeah, so, okay, yeah, that's too much for me to say. Like, we're finding ways to keep on proving how we survive is the truth. And, you know, what you were speaking before, Christine, around communication, often what happens is, you know, at the beginning of a relationship, we're loving something because we've got all the dopamine and adrenaline going on. Our boundaries are being crossed. And this is a thing. When women's pleasure, our map of arousal starts with the head. When you're so enamored by someone, you're thinking about them all the time. So your body is turned on. So when the man comes, you're actually already turned on. So now when you spend time together, that starts to drop. And this is a conversation outside of the bedroom. It's also too, you don't wait till he's taking your clothes off to say, oh, can you slow down? Because from that partner's perspective is like, well, it's never been a problem before. Have I done something wrong? And if you're not communicating, then your partner's not communicating either, because you're not, you know, a very communicative partner is not going to have a long relationship with someone that's not communicative, because it doesn't work. So you've got two people in a relationship that suits their nervous system. So if you're withholding, the other person's always, so now suddenly it's like, so now you're both shut down going, oh, and so then we stay silent and we go through the motions so as not to annoy them, not to hurt their feelings. This is also, it's, you know, coming from a place of trying not to rock the boat.
Right.
Because we feel fucking nervous to be in that boat going, well, what's going to happen? Because we're afraid of dying. In the primal brain, if we argue about sex and if all of this happens and then we separate, I'm going to die. That's what's happening in the primal brain. You know, I won't have somewhere to live. I won't be fed. Boom. So let's just keep silent.
Now, we have to go in a minute. Unfortunately, time goes too damn fast when we're having really a lot of fun. But I do have a question for you, Melissa, that maybe I want to tell anybody who needs to know about their erotic blueprint or need a relationship and sex expert to come to you. You're phenomenal. But really quickly, do you also help women and men who have maybe had some sexual trauma to overcome that, to move forward and understand that sex is a pleasurable thing and not a shameful thing?
Yeah. Statistics are 75% of people have walked through trauma. So all of my clients that are, even if they don't come to me with trauma, it comes through. Work with it. Yeah. I'm certified in accelerated evolution processing.
Great.
And we work with the charge.
I love that.
Yeah, we work with the charge in the body. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's beautiful. Well, I definitely think that people, if they have an opportunity to reach out to you, please do so. I think that you are a phenomenal woman, and I think that that you could really help a lot of people, and I'm excited about that. We are running out of time very quickly. I hate that time goes so damn fast, but I actually think that we could come back and have you again and talk about some other, you know, avenues of sexual pleasure, or maybe about touching on sexual trauma and how to get past that. I think I really want to help women with that, because I've had that myself. So I'd like to maybe help women and men get past that. So Janet, thank you for co-hosting with me again today. Melissa, you are the shit.
Yeah, I'm so happy to meet you. I'm going to be in touch actually to chat more.
Yeah, you're really phenomenal.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been such a pleasure to be here with both of you. How much fun.
Yeah, you're gorgeous, and I love you already.
Thank you.
And to our audience, thank you for coming and hanging out with us. We really appreciate you every week. And until next time, we'll be here at the same time, same place. And until then, keep it real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.